Right, welcome back to GT. Now, the Detroit Auto Show is always the first of the year, and if the 2015 event was anything to go by, it is going to be a cracker-jacker motoring year. With me to talk about the cars unveiled, I have Melinda Ferguson, Mark Smythe, and Pratesh Ruthan. What is the point of car shows? Is that a valid question to start with?
Yeah, I think it's to see magic. That's about it. I don't think people are going to drive the most of the cars out of the show, but maybe they will.
Pratesh, it seems like things have changed. I mean, the car show we thought before were cars that you might want to buy. Consumers moved on, and what we've seen, especially Detroit, it's almost like concept cars are pioneering the new phase of motor shows.
I think as well, when you see the concept car, there's a lot of buzz that happens pre-show on the internet now, especially you see what the car's going to look like. And then you go to the show and the car's there. And then we talked about turnaround times. The cars are coming out much faster and they're retaining concept cues. So the production car looks a lot like the concept car, the tech is retained and all of that stuff. So it's very cool to see those things. Jim's, was it 2 years ago, we had NSX.
NSX, yeah.
And it's here, it's coming in a few months. So it's very cool to go to a show and see those things.
Mark, it's cool what he's saying though, because before concept cars were, I want to drive in space. And now concept cars are kind of cars that are going to actually go into production. And like Pratesh is saying, they're going to pretty much retain a lot of that stuff. And I guess that is what's pulling people to Detroit, having these halo brands that are launched.
Yeah, I get your question in terms of is the car show dead, and especially because of the internet. But I mean, that's part of a whole bigger question of whether people want to see it in the metal or whether they want to just see it on the internet. And we've seen a trend, literally in fact, where motor shows have become less about the tire kickers and kids coming in wanting to collect posters and go, ooh, look, you know, and everything else, and more about the industry presenting itself to itself. So you get thousands of journalists, you get all the CEOs. Now when you go to an international motor show, there's a schedule of the car launches and unveilings. And alongside it at the same time is a whole schedule of workshops and cars of the future and what's happening with infotainment and all the rest of it, which everybody also goes to. So it's actually one big networking opportunity as much as anything else. And
also a fantastic opportunity to showcase new tech. And I mean, I think the big talking point is everyone was amped to see NSX. Then of course along came Ford with GT. I think that's what everyone's been talking about. Yeah, you got two supercars, but just coming at the supercar idea from totally different perspectives. Quick one before we get into discussion, what would you choose? GT?
I'd go NSX.
NSX?
Yeah.
I'd go GT.
Yeah, I'd go NSX.
Okay, so that's 3-1 NSX.
Honda.
Why would you go GT, Mark?
Look, it's basically on the looks. Until I see them both in the metal and all the rest of it. I mean, I'm a huge NSX fan from the early days, and you know, it's a very difficult call. I think the NSX I think is going to be the more powerful variant. Not quite up there with LaFerrari and McLaren P1, but the same type of technology with that hybrid drivetrain. Yeah,
very much 918 Porsche as well in terms of what they're pushing.
I found the interesting thing. We were a lot of there was kind of self-driving becomes like the new way of driving. It seems. I mean, Merc had that incredible car at
fully
Detroit.
Autonomous driving.
Yeah, like spaceship thing. But what Honda's saying is this is the nicest or the best, not nicest, but the most fantastic car to drive. It's a driver's car. And I think that's what's exciting about the NSX.
It's amazing. I mean, it's been 26 years and it's been my favorite car always. I've never driven an NSX and something I've always wanted to own. And along this comes, like you said, to see it in 2012, it's exciting. It looks like they've retained a lot of things, made some improvements. Pratesh, we saw it on fire at Nürburgring. And you can see bigger exhaust outlets and bigger air intakes. But interesting, running 3 electric hybrid plants, so rear wheel drive, can be all wheel drive when you want to launch. A lot of tech going into it. People were saying interior quite, but that is what Honda does.
Honda's very sort of, stayed on the interior side, but the tech is there behind it, so the technology is working. And you touched on the Ford GT coming out, and that concept, gasoline engine with its fast induction. Look at NSX and how they've taken LaFerrari P1 concepts and made it a little bit more accessible, you could call it, not being priced in that upper echelon. Maybe those technologies we'll see in hot hatches, in SUVs, performance SUVs, because the motors are getting smaller, the battery packs and all of that. So it's nice to see that technology showcased in an NSX package.
I think the Honda has to be the tech one as well. I mean, Ford, the GT traditionally, the muscle car, the brute and everything else, and that's what they kind of done. Yeah. And Honda with the NSX, it's like the movie Cannonball Run, where you had those two little Japanese guys in that black tote thing with all the little buttons and LEDs and stuff going zzz, and that's what Honda is renowned for, is producing good tech. But as you say, I mean, the S2000 with its very simplistic interior, it makes it a driver's car.
That's what Melinda said right up front. I mean, that is what NSX was always known about. GT, not known as a driver's car, massive race success because a lot of other work goes into taking a road car into a race car. Interesting though, all these cars are getting pushed straight away. They've been launched with this, how it's going to look as a Lamar prototype to be racing. Same with Infiniti with their Q60 as a race version that's already been shown. So it seems like guys are getting more into motor racing and wanting to push endurance racing, I think, as a showcase in itself. I want to talk Jaguar because it's quite an interesting discussion for me that Jaguar has really become Porsche's copycat. I know they're going to hate it. F-Type was like the big competitor to what Boxster was doing, and now they've gone and changed the name of their concept to the F-Pace.
Well, I saw the CX-17 in Joburg, the concept, which was, they were still thinking about whether they were going to put it into production, and I think that's the exact car, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a stunning car. I mean, a sport SUV Jag, who wouldn't want one?
Based on the F-Type platform, sounds like 911 with McCann. It's going to be an interesting debate because they have gone head-to-head with those guys. What's your take on it, and more importantly, the quick turnaround time? Because this was a concept, overwhelming response of, yay, this is amazing, bring this thing out, and look how quickly they've done it. UK guys working well.
Yeah, it's been a concept for a while. In fact, the CX-17, first CX-17 concept, I know Autocar drove about 2 years ago. And then they brought the concept out for media to look at in George and for the dealers to have a look at and everything else. And it is the concept. So you look at the design that's in it, and everyone sort of goes, yeah, but they'll tone that down and make the seats more normal and everything else. But if you look at the Jaguar XJ when that came out, with its rotary dial knob and everything else, and they revolutionized some of the elements of design. And I think the CX-17 is going to do this as well, where the Porsche Macan has the Porsche looks and the interior is all sort of, family and everything else. I think CX-17 is going to jump beyond F-Type and beyond everything else.
Interesting that they've gone with the name. Good move. Exciting that it's coming to SA because we know how mad we are for SUVs, especially performance SUVs. New segment for Jaguar. This is a really important car.
Well, that's the thing. The segment's been booming. A lot of its competitors are doing really well in the segment, and it's about time there's a Jag that's able to go cross country. It's been missing for a long time, and I think that relationship with the F-Type, the sportiness, the engines, the drivetrains, all of that will carry through to move Jag up, in the sales.
What do you mean by cross country? Where's it?
Let's not go there with that, guys. Out of time. Melinda, Mark, Pritesh, thank you. No news on where the GT is coming. NSX is, F-Pace certainly is, so very exciting times. I think it's going to be a great year for cars. Thanks for your comments. Now remember, if you want to see more of what's new on the market, log on to our website, www.ignitionlive.co.za, or of course engage with us on Facebook and Twitter to share your thoughts on what you think is hot or not. GT Laps though is coming up after the break.